Good afternoon. I hope you've all had a small lunch. I don't want anyone falling asleep while I'm doing my best up here. So what I'm going to do today is talk on handling rejection and focusing on the positives. And you'll see as we go along, I'm going to get a lot of people to stand up. The more experienced, the more successful distributors have had, they're there because of the amount of rejection they've had. So we'll work on that premise anyway, starting off. Okay, my story. They said, tell a little bit of your own story to start with. I was born at a very young age. I was the youngest of three. My mother and father were both older than me. Now, my father was like a lot of men in that stage. He was a man of very few words. He used to say to me, Brian, so we learned as we went along. Anyway, to move forward, I'll cut them out. Bob said, cut. Our own story. Well, my background was in telecoms. I know the lads in the room will be mad with envy when they hear that I was trained in the Department of Posts and Telegraphs, where the motto sort of was, never do today what you can put off till tomorrow. As a business, it wasn't a business. And I did 27 years between there and telecom. And long story short, there was a major restructuring, and this is a lesson, my first experience with the corporate world. I'd gone from the 40-year career in the P&T into telecom to now the corporate world taking over telecom. And they wanted to get rid of a lot of people. So my staff, according to their own statistics, was the #1 staff in the whole Dublin district, but it didn't matter one iota, not a jot. They wanted A30893 to go. That was my staff number. So I looked at the deal. We had been involved with Forever at this stage about 4 or 5 months when I started to look at this. Luckily, I had seen the potential in Forever because they were offering a good deal on pensions. So at the age of 45, I left with a 37-year pension. So I didn't realise I'd been working on my pension since I was in second class in the primary school in Scullware Marino. There's not a lot of fellas can beat that. That's planning. Now, that is planning. I was a network planner in telecom, by the way, so that's planning for you. I looked at it, knew the potential in Forever, and decided, yes, I'm going to go with it, because the restructuring deal meant I was demoted. And in early '94, I ended up going back to the rank I held, believe it or not, in 1984. That had been as a network planner, and that had been totally rejigged since I left. So I ended up doing the job I was doing in 1974. So I think you'll agree, after 27 years, that was one hell of a career move. But thanks to Marion, who introduced us to Forever, and thanks to Rex for starting it off, we had an amazing lifeline. And it's the best move we've ever made. As Jason just alluded to there, we have travelled the world. I don't know how many cities in the United States and Europe we've been to. So many of them, it's impossible to count. With over 20 trips in our time in the business. We've been to Hawaii, South Africa twice, Dubai, Singapore, all paid for by Rex Maughan and Forever. The department never sent me anywhere like that, I can tell you, boys. So anyway, we'll get on. What I'm doing today is handling rejection and focusing on the positives. The first thing I did when I wrote that down was, I saw the slides coming up and says, Jesus, check the spelling. Do you ever notice yourselves when you're writing something and you write it out, even a note to a friend, you write bang, bang. When you're putting something official up, is CAT really C-A-T? You know, you doubt yourself on everything. So at least, so that's all right. So handling rejection and focusing on the positives. This is aimed to a large extent at, I suppose everyone comes into it, but Finola earlier on talked brilliantly about the first 90 days. So people that have gone into the first 90 days and maybe beyond, whose business has maybe stagnated and are feeling a lot of rejection. All the successful people who've been in the business have been, as I said, they've experienced a lot of rejection. And for new people to realise that we all, although we love this business, not everybody wants it. So don't worry about it. We're going to move on through stuff anyway. What I have is, I remember about 18 months ago or so, Bob did a great session with us on mental toughness. And there were about 7 or 8 points he made about mental toughness. Well, I just picked on 3 of them there from that 8 or 9 points, and they really, really do relate to this. A refusal to quit. Nobody that ever achieved anything didn't come into run into some difficulties. A refusal to quit. Mental toughness is not letting anyone or anything break you, and that's important. And the ability to overcome and rebound from failure. Good friend of mine, Eamon Coughlin. You all know of Eamon Coughlin. Very good buddy of mine. Talk about disappointment. 4th twice in the Olympics. Once because he dared to win and challenged the guy who was going to get the gold medal. And in the last 5-6 meters, he was passed by 2 guys, so he went from 2nd to 4th in 3 or 4 strides. That's devastating. Fast forward 4 years to Moscow, and he's in great shape in the 5,000 meters. And in the week leading up to it, he just gets a touch of a flu. Medical help on the spot. The doc put him on an antibiotic, unfortunately. Came out, qualified comfortably through the heats. In the final, was running so easy until about 600 metres to go, and he went to put the boot down. And with the flu, there was nothing there. Where did he finish? 4th, again. Now, most people that would have killed most people stone dead. With Eamon, he came back, and 2 years later, won the 5,000 metres at the World Championships. Went on to win so many more major races and make a brilliant career for himself, just because of his refusal to quit. And keep that in mind. Not letting, hold on, put my teeth in. Not letting anyone or anything break you. Of course you'll have disappointments. It's up to you to just come back. And it's not how we are hit with things, it's how we respond to them that's important. So keep that in mind. And the ability to overcome and rebound. Okay, the next one. Okay. That's when we've fallen into that hole of rejection again. Accept that the no's are just part of the process and are moving you closer to your next step. It's as simple as that. The no's are part of the process. And everybody that's in this, also remember, the more people we approach, and this is important, the more people we approach and the bigger our list is, the less significant those little rejections seem to be. If you've got a list of 2 people and both say no, you're really in a tough place. You're down in that hole. If you've got a list of several pages of people and the first 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 say no, what happens? Move on to the next one. Less time to wallow, less time to worry. You've a whole prospect list that needs to be attended to. You know the old saying, SW, 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 SW. What's that? Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Someone's waiting is the last one. Keep that in mind, okay. Less time to wallow. We probably hold the record, myself and Connie. And it's just how this business works. We were doing a meeting for the company there, a regular meeting in Bray, and good little meeting, probably 25, 30 distributors. This is going back at least 15, 16 years. And Bray was undergoing huge new development. Leaflet dropped the whole area. Hundreds and hundreds of houses, about 7 or 8 big new developments. Anything from 60, 80 houses up to 200 houses. Got lots of responses. I had 10 definite yeses for the Monday night meeting. I followed them all up, all of them, on the Saturday afternoon to remind them and get confirmation that they'd be along to the meeting. Yes, 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 all 10 of them. Brilliant. Fantastic. Arrived at the meeting on Monday, ready to do the business, suit on, face on, whatever. Not one of them showed up. Not one. I remember Sharon, Leslie and Mary and the gang, Antonio Carvalhaes, they were devastated. Devastated for us. I just said, that's people. That's life. Get over it. That happens. That's people. That's another thing you learn in this business. You learn a lot about people. One of the major things here now too is, I put down 2 major causes instead of main causes of failure in network marketing. Very simple. two of the major causes. The first cause of failure comes in network marketing from new distributors, new FBOs, listening to people who don't know what they're talking about, who haven't a clue. Most of them are going around with their arse in their trousers, but they'll tell you, don't get involved with that. They're experts on everything except what they're doing themselves. The second major cause of failure comes from new FBOs not listening to people who do know what they're talking about. So if you're new in the business, if you're in your first couple of months, look and use the experience of your upline. If your upline's not long in the business, there's an upline manager above there somewhere. Use their experience and don't make the mistakes we all made. We made some classic mistakes, I'm telling you now. I made such good mistakes, I laminated them, lacquered them, and they were brilliant, and invented a whole load of new stuff. So use your upline's experience to get on with this business. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. The system that's there, the system that all of the top people are using does work. So just slot into it. This is a very important one. This is probably the most important bit in your first couple of months in the business. Be careful what you say and who you approach until you have been trained a little. We all know about, we refer to enthusiasm on fire. That's great, but please make sure you're getting some experience when you're talking to people. We've all had the situation where people went in fully excited, this, that, and the other about the business, about Maher Morn, works his diamond rings, God knows what else, the marketing plan from A to a Z. They sold the whole thing and then brought it back. So don't buy it back. Use your upline experience. It's most important for a couple of reasons. It may be that you're speaking to someone, and bear in mind you may not belong in the business. You're speaking to someone who was very successful in another network marketing company. Maybe the company folded, whatever. Had some success, and this guy wants to know all the ins and outs, all the stats, all the figures, and a detailed explanation of the market, or at least an overall view of the marketing plan. If you can't do that, what sort of an impression are you going to make on him? That's why you need your upline there, someone who can do all of that. You may be speaking to a businessman who the thoughts of making 6, 7, 8 grand a month is just, yeah, that's nice. I've been there. I've been better than that. Show me how I can do it. And you're on 150 a month. Well, never mind. Don't worry about that. That all happens. That grows in its own time. But a successful business person, again, will want to know all the ins and outs, the bits and bobs, and how do we do it, and what are the percentages, etc., etc. If you're not that familiar with it, for whatever you do, make sure your upline is with you. And also maybe a little bit about the products range you do, because we have a product range which is second to none. So don't try and do the full marketing plan and all that sort of stuff, and don't try and sell it and buy it back. Use your upline's experience and get started. And getting started means letting them do the work for you. Go with them. Let someone mentor you. There are so many people in this room who are, honestly, are absolute experts at this business. Not just in forever, but in networking as an industry. Use it, for God's sake, use it. And once you've got that training, well, then make those calls. Maybe initially with your upline, but get started, make those calls, do those one-to-ones. Maybe you're only selling the appointment or selling the meeting. Sell the one-to-one where you can go along with your upline. You see, you can rely on the credibility of your upline, of the company, the marketing plan, etc. It really is, the company is untouchable. It's beyond reproach. Step out of your comfort zone and take the next step. That's very important. Make the next call. Accept some short-term pain for some long-term gain. And I would say that to people all the time. Short-term pain for long-term gain. Somebody alluded to that this morning. Was it Fanula said something on the same lines this morning? Accept some short-term pain for long-term gain. Lance Armstrong said, pain is temporary, quitting lasts forever. So keep that in mind too. I'm flying through this, which is great. I'll have a little more time at the end. Let's look at some of the obstacles and challenges we might meet on the way. And this is the big thing. This is really important. Firstly, let's look at those little obstacles we meet as stepping stones on your journey to forever. See those obstacles as stepping stones on your forever journey. We all have to make those steps, step by step. Stay out of the water, just step from one stone to another. gradually, step by step. Your family and friends will often be the first ones to try and save you. And I say the word save you from that one of those things. Again. But again, when they see maybe the change in you, in your health, in how you look, in how you are generally, and they see the financial rewards you're beginning to get, then the whole attitude might change. So be aware that family and friends might be the first to try and save you. They're almost our biggest dream stealers. The next big group we run into are called the DSI. Has anyone come across DSI? It's the biggest networking group in the world, by far. They're called Dream Stealers International. And they're the ones who are out there, and whatever happens, do not be successful, because they would not be successful with you stepping out of your comfort zone and achieving some success. So stay away from the DSIs. The negative people, Fionnuala alluded to it there a couple of times, negative people. Stay away from negative. They will drag you down. They will draw from you. And whatever you do, do not become one of those negative people that when you come into the room, you take from the atmosphere in the room. Make sure that you're one of those people when you come into the room, you add to the atmosphere in the room. So stay away from negative people. Nobody ever erected a statue to a critic. So keep that in mind. And again, you might run into someone who's had a bad experience with another networking company. And because of that, they may not want to know. However, if you or your upline can find out what that bad experience was, show them, compare what they were doing to what we do with Forever. Let them see the difference, because there really is. This business, this marketing plan, our marketing plan, is absolutely beyond reproach. It is above board. This is an important one too. I'm going back. Come on. Although everybody can, not everybody will join your business. That's a fact. So don't beat yourself up over it. Not everybody, but yeah. Because it just doesn't, for a moment there. Could I have everyone in this room who has reached beyond the position of manager? Let's say we have a couple of Diamond Sapphire managers. Would you stand up? Diamond Sapphire, stand up. Julia and Marion, they're here? No, okay. Have we any Sapphire managers? I think my thingamajig is beginning to slide all over the place. Can you still hear me? Yes. Sapphire managers, Pauline, Bernie, Lisa. Okay. That's at least 9 managers. Soaring managers. Stand up there, guys. Soaring managers, quite a few in the room. That's at least 5. Senior managers, I want this for the benefit of the new people. Senior managers, at least 2 manager legs. It may be 4, they just haven't reached the 5th one yet. And managers. Managers. Good. Okay. Now, any of you that have achieved that position and haven't run into some disappointment or some rejection, please stand up. Have a look around. Have a look around. So, again, when you're dealing with people, some of them may be a little bit difficult. Our job is not to drag people across the finish line. Our job, as Eric Warren says, is to leave that meeting at least knowing that they understand how we operate. They now have some idea of how we work as a business, how we develop a business, and how we make some money. So your job is not to drag people across the finish line. Say no first. That's an important thing. Again, hold your business high. Say no first. But if you're dealing with people and you want to, it's a no for now, okay, make sure you set up another appointment. Never take rejection personally. This is very important. Sorry, go back on that. Don't take rejection personally. It's almost never a no to you. Almost never a no to you. More likely, it is simply a no for now, or I don't fully understand what you've shown me. It may be a totally new concept. So no matter how well you produce it or present it, no matter how well you present it, people are not going to get the whole thing in maybe a 45, 50-minute present, one conversation. So what I would suggest in that situation is, okay, stay in touch, finish on a good note, a friendly note, maybe leave some information with them, but get permission for a follow-up call. Maybe after the weekend, early next week, next month, 3 months' time if it happens to be, no, I'm doing a course at the moment, I'm in college 3 nights a week, I'm not finished till the end of July, spot on. That goes into the diary. Ring Joe, early August, something like that. But get agreement for a follow-up call. That's the most important thing you can do. And no matter how well we explain it, as I say, not everyone's going to understand it immediately. It also may be a totally new concept to them. They're just totally new. Even people who are successful in business cannot get around the idea that I would bring my next door neighbour into this business gladly as part of my team, because I'm not in competition with them. And when you think of it, apart from immediate neighbours, in most cases, who do you know apart? You know, friends, family, their workmates, their club mates, their old friends, etc. Totally different sphere of influence, totally different group of people. So I would absolutely bring my next door neighbour into the business. Again, that's very different to how normal business operates. So just get that agreement to a follow-up call. That's the most important thing. Never fear progressing slowly. A couple of them alluded earlier on to race horses versus cart horses. You know, I think myself and Connie were sort of a mix. We weren't exactly race horses, but when we got stuck into the business, we moved in fairly quickly then. After I'd left telecom, went on holidays, came back, we were manager a couple of months later. But we'd been at that stage about 11 months in the business. First few months was very much a little part-time thing. And then, as I say, I left telecom, moved on, holidays, whole new world. I remember waking up in Connie's brother's house in Toronto the morning before we were coming back and saying to Connie, do you know what? Excuse me. I remember saying to Connie, I don't have to go back into that place tomorrow. Don't have to go back into that place tomorrow. That was absolutely brilliant, I can tell you. Hold on. Shouldn't have eaten that packet of nuts. Rex always tells us, never fear standing still, only fear progressing slowly. I never fear progressing, cancel that. Never fear progressing slowly, only fear standing still. So we're not all race horses. There are people in here who have been 2 or 3 years in the business before they went to manager and have built fabulous businesses since then. And there are people in here who flew to manager in a matter of weeks. Great. It may be just that they were it's never luck, by the way. It may be just that they were slightly fortunate they met some good people early on. That can happen to anyone. And some people didn't, but it's never down to luck, because you've got to be proactive. Luck is just getting a ticket pulled out in a raffle or something. You've got to be proactive. Any of the people who did succeed, you'll find they worked bloody hard early on. And we're fortunate enough to meet some of the right people early on. Okay. Now we get talking to some of the positives. This is the most important bit today, especially for the benefit of the people who are getting a lot of negativity back to them. You know, I'm not going to stop on all of these. You know most of this. 40 years of consistent growth. A huge percentage of network marketing companies are gone within a couple of years. We're still there 40 years later, still growing year on year. Worldwide market leaders by a country mile. Every other aloe vera company in the world wouldn't have more than 20% of our total output of aloe vera. We operate in 159 countries, I think. Is it 160 now? No, still 159. It's changing month by month, new countries being opened up. That means that 159 governments have approved our method of doing business. And 159 governments have approved our product range, which are absolutely second to none. The company is cash-rich, debt-free. That is a major thing for even large companies nowadays. Rex never borrows. Rex will use existing capital to fund the next project, whether it be the likes of the European package, the huge big forever distribution area in Holland. There wasn't a penny borrowed for that. That was paid with funds from all the European countries. So, cash-rich and debt-free. NAMA will not be calling on us, please God, in the near future. A marketing plan par excellence. Now, to me, that's the most important thing. Many of us that have been in forever, a number of years, have been approached by other companies because they feel, you know, you're in forever, you've got to have a look at this one, get in at the ground level, a load of codswallop. Half the time you ask them to explain the marketing plan. And, well, it's not quite, you see, and the latest one I've come across is, well, it's not actually finished yet. This is what we propose doing, but we haven't yet got it patented, and this sort of stuff. Folks, run a mile, run a mile. We have a marketing plan par excellence with no hidden agenda. It is what it is. It's the few changes there have been in my time in the country, and by the way, it's only 24 years. Don't be adding a year to my life. It's only 24 years. In my time in the business, the few small changes that have been made to the marketing plan by the company have been absolutely for the benefit of distributors. Tiny little changes which help things, make things a little easier for distributors. 2.8 billion turnover. I always write that down when I'm doing a meeting. If I'm doing a presentation, I'll look at the number of knots on that. 2.8 billion just rolls off the tongue. Look at it written down. That shows you the size of this company. Products that make a difference. There are many very good network marketing companies out there in the industry, but I honestly feel we have a product range which well and truly makes a difference to people's lives. A hugely important, very, very good product range that makes a massive difference to people's lives. You could, if I got people to come up and give their testimonials on all of their favourite products, I guarantee you we'd be here till next week. Just people talking about their own personal experiences. And there are more self-made millionaires through networking than any other industry. That's amazing. Now, forever in Ireland. We're in Ireland since 1992, so we're now just 25 years in Ireland, with our own retail turnover last year in excess of 15 million. In this little island, 15 million euro. Leading members of the DSAI, as Bob said earlier, we do just about as much as every other company within the DSAI in terms of turnover. Huge company. So we're not just leading members, we absolutely lead it by a mile. Unmatched, unrivaled growth in Ireland over the, not just the last 7, 8, I should have put down there over the last 25 years, 6 years since the company came in. I remember when we started off, when we got involved first, the company was so small. Paddy Keegan was running a small warehouse. They had small regional warehouses. And Paddy had a small, basically just a small room or container in a large warehouse. And Paddy opened it a couple of mornings every week and a couple of evenings. And we went down and collected our product. In those days too, folks, we had to buy, if you wanted shampoo, you bought a case of shampoo. Yeah, you have it easy now, there's no doubt. You bought the case of shampoo. You then had someone who had a case of conditioner saying, if you got shampoo, yeah, I'll swap you 6 conditioner for 6 shampoo. Have you jelly? Grand, I'll give you 4 heat for 4 jelly. We had to buy full cases of everything. But that's the way we operated. And bit by bit, the company grew. And over the last 25 years, the growth in Ireland has been just phenomenal. We have a full-time staff, as Bob said. They work for us, but we don't have to pay for them. They work for us on our behalf. And with the financial control, warehousing and distribution, all handled from here. All handled from here. And in most cases, you can get your products within 24 hours. So we're not sending off to the UK with sterling checks, or we're not sending off to America with dollar checks. We deal just as we are, which is absolutely brilliant, and all handled from here in this little island. And the head office again in Ireland, in Maharamon, the most amazing head office you'll ever find. Last year, there were over 4 million paid out to Irish FBOs in bonuses, plus probably about as much again in retail profit. Impossible to calculate that because I'm assuming you don't charge your 80-year-old mother full price for products. But, you know, but in generally, we charge more or less the full price. But over 4 million paid out in bonuses, and as much again, I would reckon, in retail profit. And over 1 million paid out in chairman's bonuses. That is just phenomenal. That's a little extra. That's a little extra. Okay. Never doubt that we have something very worthwhile to offer. There's no question of it. A business, as I said, with no hidden agenda, and it's above reproach. We are unbelievable in the way this company is run, the ethics of the people controlling this company. You can have self-belief in your own ability and skills. Don't forget, none of us are put on this earth to fail. And you've had problems, you've had setbacks, etc. Forget about them. We've all had them. I've had them. I could write books on some of them perhaps, but I wouldn't bother because it takes up head time. Molly Harvey tells us that yesterday ended last night, or the past ended last night. Leave it there. Leave it there for whatever you do. You can have faith, belief in the company, the marketing plan, and the product range. Again, absolutely second to none. We have been ranked, and this is a major thing, we've been independently ranked as the #1 network marketing company in the world. This has nothing to do with forever. This is bestcompany.com. Yeah, absolutely. Independently ranked as the #1 network marketing company in the world. There are bigger companies with bigger turnover, but they haven't got the same structure, the same customer care, the same product range. They don't train distributors, forever business owners, the same way. The length of time the business is in operation, the activity on the company website, all of this stuff is monitored. And the feedback from the public also comes in there too. So that was an amazing award to get. Sorry lads, I'm just mixing myself up here on one, yeah. We have, without doubt, a level playing field. And I love this one. Networking, particularly in forever, is an amazing leveler in that former shop workers and factory workers, etc., can out-earn professional people. People who've had successful careers are not making as much as the top distributors here in forever. The top distributors here in forever in Ireland, never mind internationally, are on serious, serious incomes. So keep that in mind. You can set your own standards. That's the good thing about it. As per your own positive values. And you don't need to be led by or look to anyone else. Well, certainly for guidance, yes, by all means, but you don't need to be led by or pushed by anyone else. I love this one. Turn your passion into profits and let your enthusiasm become a people magnet. And that's what the best people in this company do. Turn your passion into profits and let your enthusiasm become a people magnet. And Dennis Waitley, who's one of the great trainers, one of the ones that I absolutely love, a fellow named Dennis Waitley, he says, for guys who are in my age, or younger than me even, don't chase your pension, chase your passion. What is a pension? I mean, I'm looking at guys of my age, and some of them a couple of years younger than me, who've retired, neighbours. And you know, I think the high point for them is walking the dog in the afternoon. I'd go demented. There has to be more to life than that. Honest to God. Had I stayed in telecom the full term, I would have retired 8 years ago on full pension. Thank God I didn't. I left on 37/40ths of a pension after 27 years. I did well there, that's not for sure. You don't need the approval of anyone or anything to be successful in this business. This is entirely up to yourself. This is important too, and you'll find it with people. I could pick people out here at random. As you grow personally, so will your business. And as your business grows, so will you. My sponsor, Marion Fitzgerald, the quintessential church mouse 20-odd years ago when we met her. Pauline virtually had to do everything for her for the first several months at least. Now, Marion would do training for 500-600 people at the drop of a hat. Now you know the secret. I'm looking at the likes of Niamh. I remember Niamh being asked to do a little presentation at a meeting and her knees knocking. She had just gone manager and the knees were knocking at a ferocious rate. Now Niamh will do training at an international seminar. That's just the way this company develops people. As your business grows, so will you. You and your business are inextricably linked, inextricably linked. And one of the ones I love is the law of accountability. I love these are like universal laws, they're not man-made laws. The law of accountability states, take your life in your hands, and what happens? A terrible thing. No one to blame. We are, in the main, almost exclusively responsible for where we are today. It's down to ourselves and no one else. Another major factor, the workplace in the 21st century. Looking at what's happened over the last 8-10 years, the changes since 2006, 2007, especially in this country. I mean, the damage, the devastation done to small businesses. I know of lots of people in this room who lost small businesses and good-sized businesses with the banking crisis. And forever was that the lifebelt that kept them afloat. Looking at what happened, let's say 10 years or so, do you think it's going to go back there again? The experts keep telling us that things are getting better, that we've returned. I think if you ask any small businessman, he'll say, okay, might be getting better, but we still have a long way to go. A long, long way to go. With the likes of benchmarking, people now being paid by the job rather than by the hour. Short-term contracts, that's the best thing ever happened. Short-term contracts. I mean, Jason and I joined the 40-year plan. Jason's might have been 35 with the Gardaí. I don't know. But the short-term contracts, that's the best thing ever happened to some people. You're not even responsible for pension plans or hardly even sick pay or holiday funds. So nowadays, it just doesn't operate, just doesn't work like that. My own feeling is that we are in an absolute golden era, a golden age for network marketing because of the way the workplace has changed regarding job losses, working conditions, cheap competition from abroad, etc., etc. And look at the iconic Irish brands alone that are now being, I think Waterford Glass is now blown in Poland, is it? I think it is. Still being made, but it's not being made in Waterford. Isn't that amazing? That's just unbelievable. Eric Worre, again, one of the best trainers. There's lots of stuff out there by Eric Worre. I'd say get onto it. Eric Worre states, networking is the only safe haven that exists in the tsunami that is wiping out the workplace all over the world. And we now are in the best company within the networking world. All you want is a touch box and off you go. Where would you get it? Most people beat themselves up a little. How am I doing for time, by the way? Jason, am I all right? Oh, I see. I'm just up. Jesus, nothing. Right, thanks a million. I enjoy that. Okay, 3 or 4 minutes, we're done. I wasn't even looking at that screen. The clock was ticking down. So again, most important, folks, give yourself time. Don't compare yourself to Niamh and James or Bernie Allen or anyone that's been in the business, Lisa and Ian, because you're not getting what they're getting. It took time for them to build those businesses. Again, I remember Bernie Allen, of all people. Imagine Bernie Allen doing a presentation we had sort of regional managers back in the day, and there would have been 10 or 12 of us at the meeting with Davy and John. And Bernie having to give her first report on things in Belfast. Well, she's down there. Unbelievable. Now, when she gets started, you can't shut her up. So, folks, don't beat yourself up if your business is not progressing as you felt it should. It takes time. Give yourself time. Again, cart horses, race horses. Most of us are cart horses. Commit to follow the system and do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. We all used to say, commit for 1 year. Do whatever it takes and commit for 1 year. Commit to being here in 1 year's time. That's great. Your 12 months is up in September. Didn't work. I'm moving off. And you meet Bernie Allen. Or Louise and Jason. Or Lisa and Ian. Or someone in the 13th month. No, sorry, I gave that up last month. So commit to doing whatever you need to do for however long it takes. And finally, a couple of little bits of advice for some FBOs, some little tips. When you meet people, this is important. When you meet people, look them in the eye, offer them your hand, and introduce yourself. Be upfront. Don't forget we have something very significant to offer. I keep coming back to this point. We have something very significant to offer. We're not offering a pig in a poke or some sort of chancy business venture or whatever. Meet them, look them in the eye, take their hand and introduce yourself and get started properly. Let them see there's a real caring, sharing person there And that's what we do have in forever, that's for sure. And always be mindful that we do have something very significant to offer. Your life is limited. Sadly, it is. So don't be trapped into leading someone else's life. Live your own life. This is not a rehearsal. This is the one life we have. And I had a birthday a couple of weeks back. Jesus. 3 weeks back. And it sort of dawned on me. Jesus, Tempest does fugit, there's no doubt about it. Where did the time go? Where did it all go? I was 48, by the way. But this is not a rehearsal. Remember, folks, when writing the story of your life, make sure the pen is in your hand. And hopefully you'll have something significant, something you've contributed to. You've made a difference and contributed to people along the way. That's important. A word I use all the time. When you sponsor someone into this business, you have a responsibility to look after them. Keep that word, use it all the time. Remember it. You have a responsibility to help them. And that's how we succeed in this business. Rex has said, if you want to succeed in this business, just help. The more people you do help to achieve what they want, you'll get what you want. It's as simple as that. That's the win-win scenario in networking. Recognition, the fifth of the 10 laws of motivation. The fifth law is recognition motivates. And are we big on that in Forever? Are we what? It's just unbelievable the amount of recognition we get in this company. And recognition motivates. So remember, folks, if you've got a new person that's starting and they're moving slowly, make sure they're recognized and applauded for every little step they take. And finally, the two most important words in the English language as far as I'm concerned. Two most important are well done. Simply well done. If you've got someone who's struggling a little but moving on, ensure every time they achieve anything it's well done. And that's me on behalf of myself and Connie. I wish you all the very best. I hope you have a great business and well done.